Good morning, and welcome to World in 15, your trusted source for comprehensive coverage of today's most pressing events, delivered with accuracy, integrity, and insight.
In a dramatic turn of events, French President Emmanuel Macron has announced a snap parliamentary election following a defeat by the far right in the European elections. The announcement came after Macron's centrist Renaissance Party was decisively beaten by Marine Le Pen, Jordan Bardella, and their National Rally Party, which secured over 30% of the vote according to exit polls. Double the votes of Macron's party. We have Shelby reporting on this.
This outcome in France was a significant victory for Europe's far-right parties, although the broader European election narrative centered on the success of the center-right. Across the continent, center-right parties consolidated their dominance in the EU Parliament with notable victories in Germany, Greece, Poland, and Spain, and even significant gains in Hungary, challenging longtime Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Ursula von der Leyen, the center-right head of the European Commission, poised for a second term, acknowledged the mixed results, noting that while the center held firm, both far-left and far-right parties made notable gains. Von der Leyen emphasized the responsibility that comes with the center-right's majority, ruling out any alliances with far-right groups and committing to partnerships with the Socialists and Democrats in the Liberal Renew group, which includes Macron's party. In Germany, the conservative opposition CDU won a strong 30% of the vote, overshadowing Chancellor Olaf Scholz's SPD, which suffered its worst-ever result in a European election, coming third behind the far-right Alternative for Germany, AfD. Despite scandals and controversies, the AfD maintained significant support, with co-leader Alice Weidel expressing optimism about their future. The new far-left party in Germany, BSD, led by Sarah Wagenknecht, also performed well, contributing to a night of success for radical parties. In Hungary, former Orban ally Peter Magyar's new center-right Tisza party made a strong showing, polling over 30%, indicating potential for significant political change. Spain's center-right Popular Party, PP, narrowly defeated Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's socialists, though not by the margin hoped for by PP leader Alberto Núñez Feijóo. The far-right Vox trailed in third place. Italy saw Giorgia Meloni's far-right Brothers of Italy secure a dominant position with 29% of the vote, maintaining a lead over the center-left Democratic Party. In Austria, the far-right Freedom Party, FPO, was on track for an unprecedented victory in the European vote. In Belgium, the new Flemish Alliance unexpectedly topped the vote, ending the rule of Liberal Prime Minister Alexander De Croo, despite predictions of a far-right victory. Professor Alberto Alemano of HEC Paris remarked on the surprising decision by President Macron to dissolve Parliament, considering it disproportionate to the election results. Despite far-right underperformance in countries like Belgium, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Finland, and Poland, their success in France stood out. Left-of-center parties found some success, with victories for the Green Labour Alliance in the Netherlands, the Socialist opposition in Portugal, and an unexpected win for Denmark's opposition Green Left Party over the ruling Social Democrats. In Slovakia, the Liberal Progressive Slovakia Party outperformed the ruling Smer Party of Robert Fico, sending a strong message against the government's policies, including its stance on the EU's Green Deal and arms support for Ukraine. These election results underscore the dynamic and evolving political landscape across Europe, highlighting both the resilience of traditional parties and the growing influence of radical movements on both ends of the spectrum. Back to you, John.
Thanks for that update.
President Emmanuel Macron has called for snap parliamentary elections at the end of the month following a significant victory for Marine Le Pen's National Rally in the European Parliament elections. The far-right party is projected to secure 32% of the vote, more than double that of Macron's Renaissance Party, according to exit polls. We have Anthony reporting on this.
In a televised address from the Élysée Palace, Macron announced the dissolution of Parliament and scheduled the two rounds of voting for June 30 and July 7, just weeks before the Paris Olympics. This surprise move came an hour after the polls closed and exit polls were released, and shortly after Jordan Bardella, the 28-year-old leader of National Rally, urged Macron to call parliamentary elections. "I have heard your message," Macron told French voters, emphasizing the need for a clear majority to maintain serenity and harmony. He expressed his concern over the far-right's progress across Europe and the strain continuing without a new mandate would place on the political system. Despite being only 2 years into his second term, Macron lacks a parliamentary majority. Although the European vote does not directly affect national politics, he decided that a new popular consultation was necessary. These parliamentary elections will not impact Macron's presidency, which continues for another 3 years. Le Pen, who has lost to Macron in 2 presidential elections, responded by stating her party is ready to exercise power, ready to put an end to mass immigration. Macron's decision to call a snap election is seen as a significant risk. He could have chosen to attribute the far right's victory to a temporary European trend and relied on upcoming events like the European Football Championship and the Paris Olympics to shift public focus away from politics. However, Macron likely anticipated this scenario and prepared his response accordingly. Given the challenges of passing legislation without a majority in the National Assembly, he opted for clarity, suggesting that if National Rally has the support, they should be allowed to govern. Macron hopes that his Renaissance Party or other parties can rally support in the elections. Nevertheless, he acknowledges that the odds favor another victory for National Rally, potentially leading to a Prime Minister Marine Le Pen or Jordan Bardella. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks for that update.
In a sign of growing discord over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's post-conflict strategy for Gaza, Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz has resigned from the emergency government. Speaking at a news conference in Tel Aviv on Sunday, Gantz said his decision came with a heavy heart. He criticized Netanyahu for obstructing efforts towards true victory and called on him to schedule elections. We have Jensen reporting on this.
Netanyahu responded on X, urging Gantz to stay and join forces instead of quitting. Opposition leader Yair Lapid supported Gantz's decision, calling it important and right. In the wake of Gantz's resignation, far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir demanded a seat in the war cabinet. Ben-Gvir's right-wing coalition has threatened to withdraw support and collapse the government if Israel accepts a ceasefire proposal from U.S. President Joe Biden. Last month, Gantz had given Netanyahu until June 8 to outline how Israel would achieve 6 strategic goals, including ending Hamas rule in Gaza and establishing a multinational civilian administration there. Netanyahu dismissed these demands, calling them washed-up words equating to defeat for Israel. Gantz, a retired army general and frequent Netanyahu critic, had been a key member of Israel's war cabinet along with the Prime Minister and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. He announced that he is not only resigning personally but also withdrawing his National Unity Party from the government. This move does not topple Netanyahu's government, as he still maintains a majority of 64 seats in the 120-seat Knesset. However, it highlights the deep political divisions over Netanyahu's war management. Gantz's resignation comes just before U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's three-day visit to the region, aimed at pressing for a ceasefire agreement. Gantz's centrist National Unity Party, previously in opposition, joined the emergency government after Hamas attacks on October 7, 2023. His influence was seen as a counterbalance to the far-right members of Netanyahu's coalition. In another development on Sunday, Brigadier General Avi Rosenfeld, who headed the IDF's Gaza division, resigned over his failure to prevent the October 7 attacks, becoming the first IDF combat commander to step down since the incident. Back to you, John.
Thanks for that update.
The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza reports that an Israeli raid on the Nuseirat refugee camp, which led to the rescue of 4 hostages, resulted in the deaths of 274 people, including children and other civilians. On Saturday, Israeli forces, supported by airstrikes, engaged in intense combat with Hamas in and around the camp, successfully freeing hostages Noah Argamani, 26, Almog Merjan, 22, Andrei Kozlov, 27, and Shlomi Ziv, 41, who were abducted from the Nova Music Festival on October 7. We have Alana reporting on this.
The Israeli military estimates that fewer than 100 people died in the operation. However, if the figures from the Hamas-run health ministry are confirmed, it would mark one of the deadliest days of the conflict to date. Residents of the densely populated area have described the horror of the bombardment and gunfire. Abdel Salam Darwish recounted the aftermath to the BBC. describing bodies in pieces and blood-stained streets. The hostages' return has been met with celebration in Israel, with world leaders, including U.S. President Joe Biden, welcoming the news. However, there has been significant criticism regarding the operation's high civilian death toll. EU Foreign Affairs Chief Josep Borrell condemned the operation, while an Israeli minister criticized the EU for not condemning Hamas for using civilians as shields. During the operation, Israeli special forces operated under heavy fire, and one officer later died from injuries. Footage from the aftermath shows severe casualties and overwhelmed hospital facilities. The director of Al-Adha Hospital in Nuseirat noted the increasing number of dead and the lack of more capacity. The bloodshed has also led to rare public criticism of Hamas from Gaza residents. Hassan Omar lamented the loss of lives and suggested that Hamas could have negotiated the release of Israeli hostages without bloodshed. The operation took place amid efforts to negotiate a ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under pressure to reach an agreement but faces opposition from far-right allies advocating for continued military action. Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh stated that Israel could not impose its terms on the group and that they would not agree to a ceasefire without achieving security for Palestinians. The conflict, which began with Hamas's October 7 attacks on southern Israel, has resulted in significant casualties and hostages on both sides. The latest operation marks the most successful rescue of hostages by the Israeli military in the current conflict, potentially influencing Netanyahu's approach amidst increasing pressure. The Hamas-run health ministry reports that the death toll in Gaza has now reached 37,084 people. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks for that update.
Narendra Modi has been sworn in as India's Prime Minister for a third term in a grand ceremony at the Presidential Palace in Delhi. The leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, took his oath, committing to do right to all manner of people without affection or ill will. We have Jordan reporting on this.
The BJP-led National Democratic Alliance, NDA, won the general election with 293 seats, a smaller margin than exit polls had predicted. The opposition made significant gains, securing 234 seats. Thousands attended the inauguration at the presidential palace, including the heads of neighboring Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives, but representatives from Pakistan and China were notably absent. Security was tight in Delhi, with the area declared a no-fly zone and over 2,500 police officers deployed. During the ceremony, Modi, sworn in by President Draupadi Murmu, pledged to uphold India's sovereignty and integrity and govern with true faith and allegiance to the Constitution. He assured to act without fear or favor according to the Constitution and the law. A new council of ministers also took their oaths during the event. Modi, 73, joins Jawaharlal Nehru as the only Indian leaders to win 3 consecutive terms. Despite exit polls predicting a more decisive victory, the BJP lost its parliamentary majority and had to rely on allies, the Telugu Desam Party, TDP, and the Janata Dal, United JDU, to form the government. On Friday, the elected MPs voted Modi as the leader of the Lok Sabha, the BJP parliamentary party, and the NDA. Back to you, John.
Thanks for that update.
Forge Global CEO Kelly Rodrigues aims to transform private equity investing in response to a slowing initial public offering (IPO) market. To achieve this, he has teamed up with Acquidity to launch the Forge Acquidity Private Market Index this spring. We have Ava reporting on this.
The primary objective of this initiative is to make investing in unicorn companies more accessible to a broader range of investors. This is a major financial innovation that's just happening now, Rodrigues told CNBC's ETF Edge this week. There is a future where index products and other financial innovations are making it possible for every investor to participate. The Forge Acquidity Private Market Index includes 60 private companies, such as SpaceX, Stripe, and Epic Games, as listed on Forge Global's website. However, currently, access to these investments remains restricted to accredited investors, including institutional investors and high net worth individuals. Rodrigues explained, "Today, the regulations are such that you need to have a minimum net worth to meet the threshold of being accredited." While the new initiative allows accredited investors to purchase shares, it also permits any investor, regardless of accreditation status, to sell their shares of private companies on the platform. Nonetheless, these private companies retain the right to refuse transactions on the platform. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks for that update.
Thanks for tuning in to World in 15 for your daily dose of news and updates. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on breaking stories and insightful analysis.